Welcome to the Stack Supplement Podcast, the premier source for supplement news and reviews.
We are back with another Stack Supplement Podcast interview, and we have one of our fastest returning guests, but this is not for any other reason than the fact that he has two giant brands, and it is Jim McMahon from PVL, but this time he's going to be talking all about Mutant. Welcome to the show.
Shane, thanks for having me back. Hopefully I don't wear up my welcome.
We said on the last episode, I said, we got to get you back on for Mutant.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Just as much going on. There are two brands. Some people, the thing is, I see a lot of brands or like companies that have two, a sister brand or whatever, and they have similarities, whereas Mutant and PVL are almost polar opposites. Like Universal Animal, you can kind of see the connection. PVL and Mutant, I mean, PVL is a clean, very mainstream feeling brand, and Mutant's the beast. It's a hardcore brand. I would, if I didn't know, I wouldn't have guessed you two were related.
Well, yeah, and like we talked about on the last episode, we did unveil, because we don't, we're not trying to hide anything from anybody, and we told you, hey, if you go look at the original bag of Mutant Mass, that very first 15-pound bag of Mutant Mass,
if you can find it,
well, let's hope after 15 some odd years nobody's got one on their shelf. That would just be wrong. But yeah, somewhere in the archives there better be one or two, because we had no idea that PVL coming out with a gainer called Mutant Mass was then going to become a whole other brand. Like that was never
that it is.
Oh, if I was that smart, then I'd be even luckier. But that it's just the way it happened. But
there's the saying that I heard that it's someone who says that they know what the consumer wants is either a millionaire or they're lying. So I feel like Mutant Mass from PVL was kind of like, you just gave them what you wanted and you didn't know that's what they wanted, and then it blew up.
It did. Yeah. No, Mutant. Thanks for calling it hardcore and beast and all that stuff. We love what we do. It's going to get beastier, if I can say that. There's a new gym word in life. I use gooder a lot, so I guess we'll just add beastier to the lexicon of words I'm used to using these days.
Because when it started, it was Mutant Mass. That was kind of the sole product. How quickly did it evolve? Because now it's a full lineup, it's a full family. But I imagine that it was Mutant Mass for some time before it became what it did.
No question. If you go back a few decades ago, go back to say like Metarex. Metarex was Metarex the product for the longest time before it expanded into being a brand. And that's just the way it was. So yeah, I would have to look back, but I would say probably 5 years. It was just Mutant Mass. That was it.
Oh, 5 years.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. We had no idea. Yeah, we didn't have a game plan here. I mean, again, we're always thankful for being in this realm. Like, again, I'm just an older gym rat, but I've been a gym rat since I was 11 years old. So I got a few more decades under my belt than most people. So the gym rat in me is still always there, whether I get to the gym as much as I would like to. And people who know me know I don't. I'm just honest about it. But the rat party, it just never goes away. And the gym party, it just never goes away. But we had no idea what was going to happen. And so we just launched this gainer, and we had a conversation around the table. I think there's 3 or 4 of us, if I recall correctly. And it was just crazy talk. What do you mean 15 pounds? Nobody'd put a 15-pound in a bag. That's just stupid, and things like that. But we had an advantage. We were our own manufacturer. So we had that massive advantage. So we had all the co-pack machine and everything. And we were already big into MCT oil. We were like, if I say Perillo performance products, 99.9% of the audience had no idea what the brand is I just mentioned. But go back into your history books, kids, and go look up MCT oil. And Perillo performance products was probably one of the original brands for MCT oil. That's how far back we go with MCT oil. Their product was called Captri. So that's a name that some of the people might know. But MCT oil, not everybody's putting that into their gainers yet back then. And so we were among the first. And it wasn't the first time I did it. I actually worked for another company before I started my company. and we had a product called Mass Up 1200 in Canada, and the brand was called NHF way back in the day. And so we had MCT oil in that gainer way back when. So I was walking around with this knowledge. So when we were talking about Mutant Mass 15-pound bag, and I'm like, well, yeah, we got to put MCT oil in it. And then waxy maize had just started to come out. So there was a lot of things that kind of came together all at once. And then, of course, we had multiple different protein sources based on some of the science we were seeing. It's putting together a gainer isn't just well, at least for us, it's not just slapping together ingredients and slapping a label on a thing and selling a product. Like, we actually did some science research, found a couple of studies that there was, that's why we're going to pick that calorie amount. That's why we're going to pick, this assembly of proteins. And this is why we're adding the MCT oil. So it wasn't just slap it all together and make a gainer to compete in the gainer market. It was just, we knew there's people who struggle just putting on weight. Like, we get questions all the time. So it's just like, it's hard to eat enough for a lot of people out there. And it's easier to drink your calories than it is to eat all your calories. So, I mean, your sport background, if I recall correctly, is swimming, correct? Yeah. Okay. Competitive swimmers. Okay. I deal with a few of them. These guys are, going through a loaf of bread a day, if not 2 loaves of bread a day, right? Or some of the triathletes that I deal with, this is my PVL side of my brain talking all of a sudden. But we know that. And I did the same thing when I was 16, 17, 18, trying to put on size. I wasn't using a gainer. I'd get up at like midnight, drive to the donut shop, get 12 donuts and a liter of skim milk. And I'd probably have 45 grams of protein and all that. The carb quality wasn't that great if it's a dozen donuts, but the whole point was it's a battle of calories for a lot of people.
I was actually of that. That was my trick, because when I was 18, I was maybe 69 kilos, maybe 60, 65, somewhere in that realm, which is, 145 pounds. And when I came out of school, I didn't go to the gym first until I was like 19, 20. And I had trouble because they were like, oh, you want to get bigger, you want to get stronger, have more calories. And I had so much trouble, even as a swimmer, I had so much trouble getting in the protein count and the carb count. Like, as athletes, endurance stuff, carbs were what you had. Didn't give a shit about calories because the protein, you cared about the energy. And I had a difficult time getting in the carbs and the protein. And when I came across gainers, which was Mutant Mass, that was the sole reason I took it. Was I was like, well, this is a fuckload easier in 1,200 calories. Drinking 1,200 calories than is eating. And I found that it didn't happen immediately, but I believed it helped me be able to take in more calories in my meals. Before.
No question. And I just had a personal friend call me and her teenage son, 18 years old, 17 years old. At that age, it's hard to put on any size. And, here some people coming out of COVID, it's also an economic thing too. I just go,
1,200 calories of clean food is not cheap.
No, it's not. And it's not easy. And when we're talking a gainer, those kind of the type of carbs you can ingest if you're the kind of person that needs a gainer, that's a different kind of carb matrix than if you're somebody who needs to diet and wants to lose some body fat. It's okay to eat a whole bunch of starch if you're burning it, right? But if your body doesn't metabolize the carbs that well, you better be eating a bag of carrots and some celery and cucumbers and lay off the starch.
Yeah, it's I think because that was a lot of people would always say, it's like, I had a mass gainer and I haven't gained anything. I was like, it doesn't necessarily gain you instantly. I think it's more of like, if your one meal is 1,200 calories from the gainer and then the others are like 200, it's not going to do fucking anything. You're basically just feeding yourself once a day. I always say use it to kind of just get close to the macros of the other meals.
Total, exact. Anybody who knows me, anybody asking me a question, anybody listening right now can try and trip me up. You just can't. My answer to every question I've ever gotten is food first.
Yeah.
You're trying to do something, you go to the food first. Well, you sell supplements. How come you're not trying to sell me a supplement? Well, I'm trying to teach you how to eat. And and a protein shake, so-called weight gainer shake, hey, they're just there to fill the gaps. It's just the emergency fast food, or it's a top up for something, a meal that doesn't have enough of something. And I just give people the math. And we all know, hey, everybody who's listening here, they already know the math. We all know eat 3 or 4 smaller, or eat every 3 or 4 hours, eat 5 to 6 smaller meals a day, get your macros in the balance for what you're trying to do, circle your macro count kind of around your protein needs, and then you adjust your carbs and fast thereafter.
It's funny though, because
you know what, if 8 billion people on the planet knew that, frick, wouldn't this job be a lot easier, man?
It's funny though, because I feel like in the early 20s, the gainer is what I had. And I had the gainer, and I was like, okay, 50 grams of protein, 250 carbs. Get the other meal similar or as best I can.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of now it's the other way around. I can't.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not exactly 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 at all anymore. So I'm with you, man. Like I did a calorie count, looking back the way I used to eat when I was like 17 or 18. And I was 180 trying to become 200. And that was what I was doing when I was in senior high school. And I had it up to calories. And I was like, man, that was probably like 7,000 calorie days.
I it's the same. Because I went to my doctor just for a checkup, and he said, you're 225 pounds. And I said, yeah. And he's like, you probably bring that down. Your blood pressure's like, was tiny difference. But the doctor always says, well, if it's not the same as it was last year, it's something to watch. And then I brought it back down. He says, keep in mind, Shane, you can't eat what you used to eat. And I was like, and it hit me when he said that. I was like, son of a bitch, I think he's right.
Yeah.
Because my diet was based entirely off what I did the year before.
Yeah.
And he's like, your body won't metabolize, it won't use 100 grams of carbs like you did when you were 20. And I was like, and I didn't ask him why. I was just like, I think he's fucking right. That's the fucking problem.
It sucks, man. I these days I almost walk by an apple and gain a pound. Yeah.
You just gotta and then it was from then that I worked backwards. I was like, okay, no more gainers.
Yeah.
Maybe we half serve.
Yeah.
And
but you know what? Hey, I was talking with a friend of ours, Scott Welch, and we still talk about gainers. We go, gainers probably one of the best recovery drinks you could ever use. I mean
1,000 calories. Macro,
well, even if you don't go to the full 1,000 cal, but just look at the macro makeup between the carbs and the protein. It's a great, roughly 3-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
And I've always been a fan of stacking the sups with the food, especially at the recovery or the growth opportunity times. So, and I know there's always a debate about when that is. I go, listen, I don't think there's much debate about post-workout recovery opportunities. And so at that moment in time, I've always been a big believer is double up, meaning you hit that shake before you leave the gym, if you can, because just life happens. And then an hour later, you might be, ready to eat, or you're finally drove to somewhere, or maybe you do get stuck in traffic. That's happened to me before. Everything was lined up and then I'm stuck in traffic and I didn't eat for like an hour and a half. And there was a growth opportunity missed.
When you did Mutant Mass, now like I said, I was introduced to Mutant Mass like in 2007 or 8, I think.
Yeah, about right.
And at that time, there weren't other bags. There was just that one. Like that was kind of the iconic one. Like you had the tubs on the shelf and then you had a corner of Mutant Mass because it didn't fit on the shelf.
Yeah.
When you came out with that, was that kind of like was that a traditional package? Like, was that kind of what everyone did, like a big ass fucking bag, or were you kind of one of the early ones?
Well, I know for a fact we were one of the early ones. Let's be honest, the Optimum Nutrition, Serious Mass.
Oh, yes.
Has been there for a while. Back in the day, the Weider brand, they had I'm pretty sure they had to have had a bag before anybody else. They must have. But yeah, we were kind of one of the first of the next breed of brands to get into the bags. And I mean, there's a couple of bag sales people that, they become friends over the years because we did a lot of development. You put 15 pounds of powder into a bag. People today now think that's common. Well, we were the first.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, the first bags didn't work too well. And we actually had to do a bag drop test. And then what we would do, we would go to the second floor of our offices, stand at the top of the second floor with a full bag of Mutant Mass and drop it down to the warehouse floor below. And that was our test, because we actually were shipping bags all around the world. And sometimes the seal down the side of the bags wasn't perfect, because nobody yet had put 15 pounds into a bag. And you think, oh, Jim, you're full of crap. Like, what's the difference between 12 or, that's what Optimum's product was, 12 pound, ours is 15. I go, I agree. Why should 3 extra pounds of product make a bloody difference at all? Well, apparently it did. So all around the world, we're shipping a Mutant Mass, and the seams were splitting here and there. A pain in the ass that was. And then when we went later to a 4-sided bag, and we did that for a while there with Mutant Mass, and we're thinking, oh, everything's been fixed. There's no problem. Guess what happened again? All around the world. We shipped like 250,000 bags of the brand new 4-sided Mutant Mass. And we got emails, phone calls from retailers and distributors all around the world going, hey, there's powder in my shipping box. And we're like, what do you mean? And the seams, again, it didn't work on the very first version of the 4-sided bag. And so all of our bag suppliers were, well, how can we test this? And so here we are telling them, well, go stand on the second floor. And that actually became the gold standard test for whether or not, all these other bags were good enough for Mutant's 15-pound load. So it's
because I kind of noticed that after the rise of Mutant Mass, maybe around early 2010, that's when you started seeing a lot more brands kind of compete in that area. Because again, there were some out there, but even Serious Mass, I didn't quite think it was on the same market, because there was a drastic price difference, if I recall, between Serious Mass and Mutant Mass. Not like drastic, but there was a notable difference. And if you're someone going on that cost-effective side and just being like, look, I just want 1,200 calories, Mutant Mass is kind of the way to go, especially if you didn't mind the higher carb kind of balance. But it was after that I saw you had Gaspari came out with one, I think. Elite Labs did one. They did a 20-pound. Muscle Tick, of course. Yeah. The bucket as well. And it was kind of just, now, like you said, now it's commonplace. Everyone kind of just has some sort of bag.
No question.
Like that pile of yellow bags in the corner was where it all started.
Yeah, the big red and yellow. We were, that's what we were doing. But yeah, it was
Serious Mass still had that. I guess it didn't have that hardcore appeal, because it's Optimum. They have a they have a PVL type look to them.
Yeah,
so it seemed very serious.
Still great quality items, right? No question. When it comes to what we did, again, it's just history, so we get to say it now, and these are words that have been given to us. So this isn't me saying this. This is what other people have told me, is that Mutant Mass created, or instigated, I should say, a renaissance in the category. We didn't invent the category, obviously. But
I feel like like Jacked and did pre-workout, not necessarily like to that scale, but it brought new life into the space.
Yeah, Jack, and even I would say when Gaspari came out with Super Pump. That was a renaissance product as well, is the way I looked at it. It was like, oh yeah, we're back. Hey, pre-workouts are back, because before that it was Ultimate Orange, and then there was nothing for a decade or so. Really, I mean, I'm sure there were things, but just nothing that caught on with the mass of people there. No pun intended on the word mass there.
Yeah, I think Mutant Mass kind of encouraged. It was like and especially I think I noticed it a lot more internationally. Like it just. There was just a corner.
Look at what we do. Again, we're the manufacturer. We got all these export licenses all around the world. And you go over to FIBO in Germany and with our partners over there. Mutant Mass is now 7 times in a row, 7 years in a row. It's the weight gainer of the year over there. I go, I'm blown away by that. And
if I'm not mistaken, you guys were the ones that did the shoulder hold test at the expos?
Yeah. Well, yeah. We've done that, and we appreciate that others are doing it too now. But we actually show up with a scoreboard, and we have buddies that they go head to head, and we got the countdown. Where do you see what we're bringing out soon about this? Like, I can't tell you what it is. It's not going to be that massive a secret. It's a fun fact. We're going to have more fun now that we're allowed to travel again.
Yeah, no, allowed to travel.
Hey, if you're going to Florida for the Olympia, everybody, Mutant's going to be there, and we're going to have a little fun. So
interesting.
Come see what we're doing.
Because like I said, you guys come a long way since it was just Mutant Mass. You've had a lot of big products over the years. Mutant Rehab, I think, was one of my favorites that I remember. That hybrid, just
it was crazy.
What wasn't in there, kind of thing.
It was everything. It was okay. Rehab, don't forget, was one hell of a post-workout product, and post-workout is probably the most important part of our nutrition programs, but it's also one of the categories that, for whatever reason, our industry just doesn't do well with that category. And you go look at my buddies over at Muscle Farm. Where's Recon? That was the product. I helped Brad, the original owner of Muscle Farm, out. Brad developed that product, and we were making it for him. And I thought it was a wonderful formula. And
I thought that Recon was a good one, and so was Bulletproof. Two recovery-focused products that are no longer a part of the family. But those are two of my favorites.
And same with Rehab. We killed it. And look, and here's a laundry list of things, but there's 8. Okay, everybody's got amino products out there. Sit down. Wait to hear this number. There's 18,000 milligrams of free-form amino acids in this bloody thing. I mean, we're talking like dosed to the gills, dude. Yeah, I can't even remember. There was like 3 or 4 grams of creatine for post. Yeah, there's 3 or 4 grams of joint and bone health stuff, antioxidants. I mean, this thing was just jammed. And the jar, if you remember, is like the size of a protein jar.
It was a 2-pound tub, yeah.
Yeah, and we could only squeeze, I think we could only get like 16 serves in there too. That's how jammed this thing was. I mean, you gotta remember, I used to work with the Vancouver Canucks, the ice hockey team up here. I work with a lot of athletes. So recovery for me was a walk in the park. We know how to make recovery products, no question. So I just threw everything I knew at this thing, and it was awesome. And we only did it in the one flavor. It was a fruit punch, and
if I remember the taste wasn't like superb, but then at the same time, when I had it, I was like, I mean, to be honest, this is what I would mix together anyway, and it probably tastes worse.
Well, yeah, and my formula nerd self, the way I look at stuff, I go, well, hey, if you put 5 grams of BCAAs and glutamine into a shaker cup, that flavor experience is pretty easy. Okay, let's throw in 18,000 milligrams. Now let's add some glucosamine. Let's add some turmeric, some ginseng, a few 1,000 other things in there. Oh yeah, you try to flavor that sucker? Good luck.
The other one that I remember seeing over the years was Mutant Madness, and that was kind of
which version?
I'm going back to maybe I'm remembering the 2014, 2015, somewhere around there, because that was the time that like there were a lot of hype, but like Mutant never really followed a trend as such. Like you kind of just did your shit. Like Rehab wasn't because everyone was doing a post-workout. Mutant Mass wasn't because everyone was doing a gainer. And even though pre-workouts are kicking off a little earlier, I think we're kind of waiting for Mutant Madness, and then it came around. And if I remember correctly, it was a pretty fucking good dose of caffeine at the full amount, if I'm not mistaken.
You are not mistaken. In fact, I was in a store today, and I watched them sell some Mutant Madness, and the sales pitch is very simple on that product. Put down that can of Red Bull, young person. Get on the Madness. And
is it the same formula now, kind of thing?
It's predominant. Yeah, it's over 300 milligrams of caffeine. It's a couple different sources of caffeine. We don't try to portray that it's gonna freak you right out and it's super stoked. That's not who we are, kind of thing.
The original was higher though, wasn't it?
Well,
I'm going back. I'm trying to get to the one. I'm trying to get to the 50 serving where it had
I-
the 600, because that was
Uh,
huge. That's not so much. That's not uncommon now. It's much more common now. But back then,
Yeah.
when you did that, like I've
Yeah.
had pre-workouts now that have the 600, 700, and
Yeah.
that was, and it's because there was a study I think where they did the 800, and ever since then you've kind of got people are like, oh, okay, so 600, 700 is fine. But if I remember correctly, you were one of the kind of first to do that 670 range, 600 range. I mean, it was spread across 2 scoops, and you could obviously
Yeah.
halve
Yeah.
down.
I mean, the way we purposely designed the product that is right now, one scoop is about 360. I say about because
Yeah,
we got different formulas for
different
different
sources. Yeah.
well, and also different countries. There's
Oh,
different
okay, yeah.
regulations, and that's the other thing. Again, for our brand, if I build something for the United States, that's one formula. If I got to build it for another country, it's going to be maybe sometimes it's got to be a little different. Not every time, but sometimes. But the idea is that if you want more citrulline and more beta alanine, we'll take 2 scoops, and then and the way I look at it is 2 scoops of Madness is kind of like some of those 600, 700 milligram caffeine products out there. And so, we're still providing that same thing, just in a different avenue. But yeah, we've got and we've purposely stayed out of the pre-workout game just because, again, you and I mentioned it on the last podcast. You and I were sitting there in Vegas and with Scott, and we were talking about, and I'll never forget the look on your face when I said, hey, I'm working on some products. And you said, please, for the love of God, Jim, not another pre-workout. And I'm like, okay, Shane, I hear you, buddy.
But it's one of those things though, like if you, and it's much like you said, and you can see that reflected in PVL. Like you said, if you do a pre-workout in a certain way and you do another pre-workout shortly after, you kind of become known for pushing the boundaries on a pre-workout. And when you push the boundaries on a pre-workout, people start expecting something stronger, something harder hitting.
Yeah.
And like you said, your focus, and I agree with it, is that there are many other aspects of training and supplementation where you can get benefits and growth and gains that aren't
No question. No question.
And I see that reflected.
Well, you're going to see it reflected even more so in a couple of months. So Mutant definitely has a new product that we're launching. Okay. You can already know what category it is. I just said it. You just said it. It's in the pre-category. So there's that. And we're not replacing Madness. We love Madness. The Madness is a great product. It's cost effective. It is what it is. We're damn proud of it. It's got 4.5 shots of caffeine in it as compared to your one little, piddly ass can of Red Bull. And it's got some beta alanine and citrulline. It's got stuff. Well, Mutant is now ready to jump back into bigger dose pre-workout game. And we purposely didn't come out with anything for a few years in that category, just because it was getting busy and it was getting too noisy in one direction. And again, I'm not crapping on other brands. I'm just saying this tangent of stim the hell out of your product, that's fine. We've been there, we've done that. And a lot of people love those. And if I was 20, I would love it too. We built a product though that's on a different tangent. So the formula, all the ingredients and all the doses selected for this new Mutant pre-workout that's coming in a few months, it's all on a totally different tangent. It's not, the neuro tangent. Like we're not trying to, follow anything, any trends or anything like that. Like that's just not who we are. Like when raspberry ketones became the hottest fat burner, I don't know, whenever that was, like 15 years ago. Trust me, I had every distributor and every retailer, hey, can we get some raspberry ketones from you? I'm like, no, bugger off. It's not going to happen. Anyways.
Madness has kind of been around for a while, and that is your stimulant, high stimulant, arguably. You don't really need anything more. But you did have Mutant Mayhem as well at some point, did you not? And that was kind of I always thought that was the fuller dose. That was the more performance base. And then you had Mayhem as Madness as the alternative.
No question. And then what I appreciated in the industry was, seeing other brands, new brands that came out, and some of them I really liked what they were doing. I was like, wow, okay, that I like seeing innovation. I like seeing the doses some of the brands were using, getting better and bigger. So like, okay, now let's go do it the Mutant way. And so that's what we have coming out. But we definitely picked a tangent on our product. And when we can talk about it, we'll talk about it. But it's a very clear message what this product is, slightly more unique than all the ones that are out there. So high stim, love it. There's still going to be caffeine in ours. Don't worry, Christ. How much stim does somebody need, really?
Okay.
I mean, do you want to be bouncing out of your skull, when you're trying to get that 20th set in? I'd rather not be doing that. But if you want to get that extra rep, because where does muscle growth come from, Shane?
Yeah.
It doesn't come from doing 8 billion reps because you're wired on quasi cocaine. Sometimes it comes from, you got to be lifting a heavier weight, man.
Yeah, my training is sort of, there's a guy called in the UK called Jordan Peters, and he likes, his training style is kind of improving the weight exercise each week, whether it be the next dumbbell up or one more rep on the one you did last week. And that's kind of, I follow the same pattern. I'm like, I was talking to Brian Schwarren, and I said, that's the coolest thing about the gym, is that you don't need to taper, you don't need to rest, you don't need to perform. Look, you are the same person as you were arguably last week, but can you do one more rep? Can you lift heavier? And it's measured. The 150 pounds is 150 pounds. And that's the way I kind of always gone about it. If I go in and I'm not lifting slightly heavier or doing one more rep, then I feel like I'm the same person last week and I haven't made any improvement. Yeah. So I know exactly what you're kind of getting to, is performance is key. And I'm of that mindset. I'm sort of worried more about the numbers.
Yeah, no question. And when I talk with people, or maybe I'll go review some chat boards and I'll see what people are talking about. Hey, it's talking about pre-workouts and stims, and oh man, now I got I was just jacked the gills on this thing, man. I got so many more reps. I felt awesome, and my ears are tingling. There's so much beta alanine in there, and oh man, this one's got niacin, beta alanine, and 800 milligrams of caffeine, and the synephrine, and the yohimbe, and the 2 amino isoheptane. It's got. I'm like, okay, hold on, settle down. Your body doesn't need all that. And if you actually talk to, the hardcore guys who are using other supplements, as we like to say, more is not always better. You just need enough to do the job. Yeah. And then let's start stacking some other things to do the job. So that's all a pre-workout should be doing as well. Like, how much stim do you really need? All right, let's put the things in there that are going to help you move more weight. Ooh, I just said it. There you go. Sorry. There's the big secret. Kinda.
So it's kind of along the same lines, I guess. Not necessarily along the same lines, but more in the direction of PVL dominate. Like, that was kind of the goal with that one, was to be more performance strength based than the caffeine high stim end of the pre-workout, at least in terms of different types.
You're partially right. And I would never tell you that you're partially wrong ever, Shane. You know that. So, but
I don't imagine it being the same.
No.
So I don't imagine it being exactly the same, but in the same area kind of thing.
Let me put it this way. When you put the two side by side on the shelf, they're clearly different.
Okay, yeah.
They're from each other. Yeah. There's a very clear line what this Mutant one was built for. So PVL is a performance brand. So you can imagine that PVL product that we made to dominate was all about performance. So it has a cross section of ingredients. Don't forget, there's nootropics in it as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not exactly always knowing which type of athlete is going to use a PVL product, because it could be a bodybuilder, it could be a hockey player, it could be a soccer, and
a runner, endurance.
Yeah. And we're appreciative of everybody on that. Mutant, hey, let's be clear, man.
The market.
Mutant's going somewhere. Where are you going? I'm going to the gym. Where are you going afterwards? Going to the beach. That's what Mutant's about, man. Come on.
That's actually a good point. But I mean, like I said, you created Mutant for that reason. You know the audience, the demographic, the market. So it's, I imagine there is a clear difference. I didn't.
No
but
question.
Like I said, I I suspect it's in that area where, like you said, it's not all about the stem. I'm intrigued to know. Huh.
Oh, now now you're setting me up to disappoint you. I don't like this feeling I'm feeling right now. I'm just kidding. It's a big dose. It's clinical. Like, let's be clear here. It's clinical ingredients. So, there's no bullshit ingredient that somebody's got a trademark on and it's not a real freaking ingredient. Sorry, everybody, that does happen. There's some bullshit in the industry. Imagine that. So you got real ingredients and you got clinical doses, and the assembly of ingredients were specifically chosen for that thing that you need in the gym to push a bigger weight. And that's it. There's nothing in there about being a better gamer. Sorry. You go get a gamer product if you want to be a gamer, and that's okay. I still play video games myself, just not for hours on end. But this thing is for mutants who want to go to the gym, and you know what your job is in the gym. And the mutant job is about building muscle, and that's it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I have an idea.
There are a couple of products out there, and again, these are ones I respect. There's two. I won't name them right now, but there's two out there. There's probably more than two, obviously, but these two are the ones I'm aware of. I respect the hell out of them. I think they're damn good formulas, but I think ours is just a little bit more damn good, and a little bit more damn direct, and it's damn targeted for the damn thing you got to go do in the damn gym, so you get damn bigger.
It's not Mutant Dan by any chance, is it?
No, yeah, can't put that on a label, can you? I don't know. Who knows these days? Who knows?
So I'm assuming that it's you're kind of targeting this for Olympia, or at least around there, or in that time.
Oh, dude, we're targeting it for something, of course. And if anybody wants to know what the hell's really going on, all you gotta do is go on Instagram, baby. All you gotta do is hunt my ass down. I'm over at Mutant CEO. Not exactly hard to find, everybody.
Huh. Now you gotta make me go and fucking look after this. God damn it.
Well,
and I already follow you.
You know me, Shane. I like to give you a little bit of information, get you intrigued. My last name is McMahon. I do know how to sell stuff to make you tune in on Friday nights to see what's going on at the gardens.
I think it's that's kind of one of the coolest things I've noticed about like a lot of CEOs is, and a lot of them kind of do it. And there are a few I have to pay attention to because they'll let shit slip on Instagram. and I love it when they do that. Like Doug Miller at Core Nutritionals, he's kind of one of the key guys that does it. He'll be in a live or something and he'll just say it. And then I'll kind of share it. And then they'll be like, well, this is one wasn't meant to be kind of mentioned or said. And I'm like, look, Doug let it slip. And there are a lot of other guys out there that do the same. They'll kind of touch on it. And it's cool because it's kind of a reflection, I guess, of like how passionate, how excited you still get.
Oh, hell yeah, baby.
For so long. And it's I'm kind of
go look at some of my posts the last couple of days and go there's a certain hashtag in there. Like I'm not hiding anything. It's in there.
You know what?
Oh, hey, Shane, it's in there. In. You know what I'm saying? Are you in? Are you in? In? It's in there. I'm just saying it's in there. In there. So come on.
There's a bloody ton of those hashtags. Jesus Christ. Oh wait, here we are.
Oh yeah, Jesus Christ isn't in that list, I think. Anyway, don't worry about it, man. We'll come back.
Best tasting pre-workout. I see.
You might see it. We'll come back.
A few in there. I'm gonna pay attention, a little more attention, and I'm gonna.
Well, people want to know what I'm doing. If they listen, you can follow us at Mutant Nation. That's the big one, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to see what Big Ron's up to, Big Ron Partlow, he's at Rep 300. Go follow Ron. Follow Mutant Nation. And if you want to see what's going on with the secret chemist, the guerrilla warfare supplement nerd that's been doing it for 30 plus years, who's got some, I might have some super connections with more raw material people than you really want to know about. Oh, bro, the stuff we're working on, I wouldn't say anyone, like, I'm not that arrogant, but we got some neat stuff coming out. Like we got, There's a, I'm sorry, man. I feel
you-
guilt. I feel really guilty, but I'm excited. Like I haven't been this excited in a long time. Like I'm happy that we could travel again. I'm happy that we got the Olympia coming up. I'm happy that Arnold's is back. We got other news. There's stuff we're dropping here in a couple of weeks. It's pretty big. Pretty big.
See, you're experienced enough because most guys who get excited usually let shit slip. But I can tell that you're like, you know what, I can't let this slip.
I can't. I mean, I'm dying.
Too many people will get mad at me.
Well, there is that. And, I don't want to overplay anything either, but Mutant is a great brand. I think we're amongst a lot of other great brands, but Mutant wants to walk its own path. We're all about that gym camaraderie. Again, you see me post stuff. I'll post a picture of Arnold and Franco from the 70s. So get that image in your head. That's camaraderie. If you go back and watch the 1975 film Pumping Iron, and you see the guys hanging out in the original Gold's Gym in Venice, going to Muscle Beach, all that stuff. I grew up on that. I love that shit. That is awesome shit, man.
Yeah.
And so, I'm thrilled that I get to work with guys like Ron, all the bodybuilders that have come through here, and Rich, of course, God rest his soul. But yeah, we're not done. Like we're having more fun now than we probably had in a long time. I'm glad, I'm glad that we're the size we are so we could get through COVID. COVID was bad for a lot of businesses, bad for a lot of gyms. It's not fair. I think that a lot of businesses got shut down. I mean, there's reasons why, for safety and all that, but Ron's gym stayed open for the most part. Like if out here on the west coast of Canada, the gyms were open. Why is in Eastern Canada, some of these guys aren't going to make it because they've been shut down for over half a year, some almost nearly a year, and not because of them, it's because of the government. Sorry, a little bit of a tangent there. Don't get me going about. But I'm more passionate. I'm not passionate. I'm not against the government or anything. I'm more passionate for the gyms. That's my point. I hate watching people who might not come out of this. Their gyms aren't going to come out of it. That sucks. That's terrible.
I will say, I think Mutant is one of the handful or few legacy, just staple brands. I think you're up there with the leagues of I don't know technically the size, but you're in that realm of MuscleTech, Optimum, BSN. You're in that range where it's kind of like these are the brands that have been going strong for that long. And I think people forget that we're probably never going to see well-established giants come about anytime. Like the last ones that I think that have gotten to that status, the most recent ones, would probably be Redcon 1 and Ghost. And people forget those guys are like 5 years old now. And those are kind of the biggest. I haven't seen anybody else kind of come along and get to the size that BPI, even PVL, just big brands that are like, when you go into a store, you need to have them to be able to be like a retailer. They need to be there. And I think you guys are up in that realm, and it's been impressive that you've been able to stay there for that long and continue to evolve.
Well, first of all, we're not a legacy brand. We're a badass legacy brand. If you ask some other friends of ours, one of our newest athletes that came on board, I love her, Shelby. She coined the phrase for it. You guys are a badass legacy brand. I said, "Fuck, awesome, thanks, Shelby. I appreciate that." So I still love what we're doing. I'm still driving a pickup truck. I'm not out there driving a $500,000 car. I like my pickup truck, guys. Come on, that's the way life should be. I don't need to prove what I've got. Hey, I'm the stupidest person on the planet. I didn't just own one H1 Hummer. I stupidly bought a second one at some point in my life, and then I really did grow up and got rid of the Hummers and went back to normal pickup. But the secret of our success is we give a shit. Like we authentically give a shit. It doesn't always come across every time. And yeah, we burnt a few bridges here and there, and I'm actually in the process of repairing a couple of bridges right now. I won't name names, because I care about what we do here, and this camaraderie that when you follow at least me on my Instagram, you'll see me use that word way too often. I probably bore the hell out of people with the word, but that image of the 75 pumping iron, Arnold and Franco, plus more than just, Ed Corney and everybody else who was in the movie, but in the book. And that's how I started training. Like when I was 11, somebody had to show me how to do it. And then when I went to my first real big gym when I was 16, guys had to show me. I mean, I was rubbing shoulders there with guys around the Olympic weightlifting team, powerlifters. One of the guys, my older sister is 7 years older than me. One of the guys from her graduating class is Tom McGee. Not everybody might know the name, but he actually won the World Powerlifting Championships as a super heavyweight. And so, here's a guy from my own hometown that was a world champion powerlifter. So Uncle Vince also signed him to a WWE development contract. I don't think it worked out too well. And I'm just kidding, everybody. Uncle Vince is not really my uncle. At least I don't know if he is or not. Find out maybe one day. But anyways, it's this camaraderie that drives us. It really does. And I know that sounds like bullshit to some people. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about my opinion. I know what I stand for. So that camaraderie is really what drives us. And I mean that authentically. That's not a marketing fucking line. Sorry, guys. It's the real deal. Like what?
Yeah.
So,
It's good having people like yourself come on and kind of share because a good brand never really lets you see behind the scenes. Like you can never tell behind the scenes by looking them at the front, because they do great marketing, they do great branding, and what is presented may not reflect what they are. Like I remember when I met Animal for the first time, like hardcore fucking brand, much like Mutant, it's represented as hardcore, and then you meet the team behind it and you're like, you guys, I don't know, I expected an office of like 250-pound bodybuilders kind of thing. Like it's kind of like Mutant, you expect like this hall of
hey, don't start mentioning the names of the guy, because I know a few of them. And
no, I know, but you have this image in your head. Just like if you had a lifestyle brand, you would expect it to be a group of fun-loving people and just very vibrant. But you always, and it's just cool to see behind the scenes and the people who are actually there and the morals and the things that they follow, and just hear that aspect, because it's not always, and it may not be something you want to communicate, but Mutant obviously has good morals, good rules, good guidelines.
Whoa. No, we don't. Hold on. Jesus. Don't lie to everybody.
Sorry. I don't want to ruin the
that's terrible,
reputation.
Shane. I can't believe you just lied to everybody like that. That is terrible.
It's hardcore. Don't give a shit.
But here, let me unveil something for not just for you, but for everybody who's listening. Obviously, I go, a person like me. Now, okay, the brands that we do in the business, we started in 96. It's over 25 years ago now. And Mutant came out in 05. And when we came out, there was no such thing as the interwebby, whatever this thing is called that everybody talks about these days, the interweb, or whatever it is. I don't know. And then this ticky-talky thing, and this Graham, Instagram, that's what
the Facegram.
Whatever these things
and the Twit book.
Anyway, so none of that existed when I started. And so marketing was, don't forget, it was print, magazines, newspapers, TV,
billboards,
and billboards, and radio.
Expos as well,
and expos. But I'm talking in the grand scheme of every product on the planet, regardless of our industry. So to advertise, you had to be a big enough brand to have enough of a bankroll to go and advertise in the first place. So back then, you were amongst a rare breed. There wasn't a lot of competition. And so don't hear me wrong. I'm not complaining about the new way of doing things. In fact, I kind of like it. But let's get to where I'm getting here. And that is, okay, well, now it's an even playing field. You don't have to have a bankroll to advertise. You go on Instagram right now. You can be on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all of these other things that I don't even know what they are. And that's why we have a team of over 120 people here working. So, because I don't know everything. So we do all these things. So now the playing field is somewhat even. But here comes the cranky middle-aged guy right now. You're the cranky guy's coming out. Starting
winding up.
Oh yeah, I'm winding up, baby. Here it comes. Somebody asked me the other day, how do you tell the difference between a good supplement and maybe not a good one? Like, what do you do? I'm like, well, first things first, kids, look up the supplement brand, see if you can find their physical address. Just do that. Start there.
That is a key fucking. Oh,
I'm sorry, if you're buying from a supplement brand that's got a post office box account, wait a minute. And if you can't find a physical address, what the hell are you doing giving these people your money for?
a lot of them don't list it. A lot of the new ones that have it on their website. I've noticed this because I've when we come across new brands, I do that. I look and I'm like, okay, these guys European based, what country are they from? Or in the US, what state are they based? And I'm like, they don't fucking list a number. They don't list an address. They don't list an email. It's a contact page, and that's kind of it. And I just remember a lot of the bigger brands will not only have it listed on their site, they'll have it down the fucking bottom. Reach out to us here, call this number, office hours or so-and-so.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to crap on the brands that don't unveil, but
it is an interesting thing though.
But I go, really? Hold on here. Let old Uncle Jimmy McMahon here tell you how it really goes in the real world. If you have a facility that's building supplements, guess what? The government needs to know about you because they got to check your good manufacturing practices. You want a certificate? You want a license? You want an export permit? You want to bring in some dairy that goes across the international borders? You want to bring in some collagen, which is, either from beef or marine sources, and that's got to go across the border? You need permits, everybody. Well, guess what? How do you get a permit? You go to the government, you get a permit. Well, they need to know who the hell you are. You need to have a health inspector come in and make sure you have a clean environment. So first things first to all consumers, check the brand, see if you can find by Googling if that brand or the manufacturer has a physical address. And hey, Mutant is made at Fit Foods Limited, 1589 Quebec Way in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, Canada. Look it up. It's there. It's real. It's physical. We don't fucking hide.
There it is. You wound up.
I get pissed off because guess what? There's too many fucking new brands out there that are hiding. They're bullshit, some of these newbies. Sorry, they are.
I will say that's kind of one of the things, like I said, back in the day when I started Stacked at like 2011, I may have had 2 stories a day, maybe 1. Now and I'd have to hunt the stories down. Now it's, I could have counted the brands, maybe 20, 30, if that, like there weren't many. Yeah. You know them all. And now it's just every kind of, and it's hard to kind of even discredit or like, because they all have their own audiences. It's sort of like a trainer at the gym.
Nothing wrong with that.
Make his pre-workout and he can kind of sell it to his audience. And that's kind of the thing. Like everyone can make their stuff and just, they'll all have an audience. And it's crazy how many people do it.
I'm a fan of choice. Love the fact that there's choice. Never going to crap on anybody's brand if they're doing it the right way. And what's the right way? Follow the regulations. I didn't invent them. I have to follow them, but they're there. I'm a fan of great ingredients because that's all any product is the sum total of its ingredients. And then to get a good effect from that ingredient, then you need the right dose. And once you have enough of the right dose, more isn't always better. So, it'd be hard pressed for anybody to show me a study. And of course, I've read a lot of them, but you don't see any real significant massive difference between 400 milligrams of caffeine and the 800 milligram caffeine dose. Like it sounds like, it should be double the effect. Really?
I think initially you do, like you feel the difference, but I've noticed this when I've had products that have 350, 500, 700, that initially there's that, and it hits, but once you build a moderate tolerance or even just get used to that feeling, it comes out to be the same. I've kind of noticed that it's after a week or two, it balances.
Exactly. You'll get the diminishing return effect. And so then what was the point of doing it in the first place?
Yeah.
That's always kind of been my point. And again, you talk with the guys who are doing the extra hardcore stuff. It's the same thing. Like, if you're taking, 25 of this, and then it stops working. Now you got to take 30. And when the 30 stops working, then you got to take 35. When 35 stops working, you got to take 45. And it's like,
I always live by the rule that you can only be stimulated so much. And like, you can only be as high, you can only be energized as your body allows you to. And I have always wondered, is there something that you can have that would be like, hey, this is your limit. If whatever you feel on this is as good as life is going to get. Don't go chasing any dragons. This is I've always thought about that. And I feel like DMAA might have been the closest I ever felt to that, because I haven't had anything that kind of felt similar. And I like to think that's the benchmark. I like to feel like anything you can get close to that. If you get that and want more, then it might be a bit like it's going down a rabbit hole. It's a tricky thing.
Well, no question. I mean, the original ECA stack, ephedrine, caffeine, and aspirin.
I was not around for this. I've heard of that.
Bro, man, it was awesome back then. You say, hey,
people tell me about this ECA. I remember someone told me back in 2012, they're like, oh, this is going to be our new ECA stack. And I remember being like, what the fuck is ECA? And he's like, and he said to me like, oh, ECA. And I'm like, okay, I can't reply with, oh yeah, I know what that is, because I don't, or I can't be like, what is that? So I was like, I looked it up and I was like, and then people have told me this. I wasn't around because it was mid 2000s, was it not, or early?
Oh, it was earlier than that, like in 94, 95 is when we had it. I mean,
well,
you go down.
I was 5.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, bro. Sucks. Sorry, man. You missed out on some fun times, man.
People told me that was probably someone who had that, and DMAA said that was probably a slightly better high, but DMAA was a slightly better focus. But you get your ups and downs from.
Yeah. You might want to invite me back on in about 6 months. I do have something I'm working on that tangent.
Oh,
I kid you not. I'm not saying that to piss you off or anything.
This is a stim. I've been waiting for a fucking a stim that wasn't like a quality stim that was branded, patented, went through the proper things, rather than like DMAA, DMHA, M-citrate.
We're here. I'll unveil a little bit just so I don't sound like a real creep person here. I go, there's an actual thing we found. It is banned in a lot of countries. It's not banned in a few of the bigger countries. And we're like, oh, well, this is interesting. So the sample is actually going to probably get to me in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And yeah, it's something we're like, wow, okay. You do have to stack it. It's not something that you would want to take on its own. But yeah, no, it's kind of interesting, and it's going to be interesting if it works. Like I'm excited to have a couple of guys and myself try it out, and we're going to just see what happens. If we're dead, then it worked.
Worked too good.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
I'm surprised something like that hasn't happened yet. Like with DMAA, and then it kind of gone and went, and they're like, okay, maybe if we go about this the right way and kind of get the approvals and whatnot, maybe we'll come out on top. And then citrate came around, same thing happened. DMHA came around, same thing happened.
There's another ingredient that nobody even talks about, and I wonder if I should even mention it. But okay, my buddy Bert, and those friends of ours in Canada know who I'm talking about. So my buddy Bert was working with me here, and we had this ingredient, and another guy of ours, he's a personal trainer up in the Okanagan of BC now, Iron J. Iron J is what we call him. So myself, Iron J, and Bert, we had this magic ingredient come into our facility just for like 20 years ago. And so it's a sample. And so we all took a little bit of it. We looked it up, took the dose. Dude, that was one of the freakiest bad rides I think I've ever had. I remember standing in the hallway, and I steadied myself in the door jam area, and I think it was in Bert's office, and go, dude, I don't like this. This is weird. So it wasn't a hallucinogen or anything. It was a stim, and I was sweating. The sweat was just pouring off of me. And so I go, okay, it's definitely a thermogenic. It definitely worked from the thermogenic, because your calorie burn was just going up and up and up is what it felt like. But I felt like shit on it. And I'm pretty sure Iron J and Bert didn't exactly like the experience here.
Wasn't Yohimbine, wasn't it?
No. Oh, fuck, Yohimbine, that's nothing. Jeez, I could take that all day long.
Because I've had that. I've had alpha Yohimbine at some high dosages, and I'm just like,
oh yeah,
it's good up until a point where it's not good.
yeah, like we used to be able to make some stuff like that for a couple of companies in the States, and yeah, you don't need a lot, like 2 or 3 milligrams. Holy
it's
crap,
not a lot.
you feel it. But yeah, I saw some stuff at like up at 15 milligrams. Like, what, are they trying to kill somebody?
I remember having it in a product back in my early days, and it was a sequel to the original, and I was just like, oh, 2 capsules, like an idiot. But it was a single capsule that I was meant to have. Right. So I threw it down. Yeah. So obviously a double maximum Yohim dose. This is going to go down well, and I was just dizzy, feeling sick, but sweaty and energized at the same time. And I was like, okay, this is the power of that. I'm not gonna fuck around with that one again.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of guys in the States who might know about the ingredient that me and Bert and Iron J did try that time, because it was written about. I think Dan Duchesne back in the day was writing about the ingredient, and nobody ever came out with the exact version of the ingredient. There was a chemical version, and there was an herb that supposedly also had the same chemical constituent in it. But yeah, what we had was the real deal that day, and holy crap, it was a trippy ride. I mean, if you're into thermogenics and you don't care how you feel, it was a great thermogenic. But I personally, I gotta care how I feel.
Well, if
I felt like crap.
If you want a thermogenic and not have to do anything and sit down, there you go.
Yeah, no, but there's a different one. That's kind of what it is, sort of, kind of, maybe coming in here, and then I have a stack that's going to work pretty darn well. It's something we've been sitting on for a couple of years. COVID hit. COVID delayed a lot of development here. Like again, Big Ron, he's 300 pounds plus when he was competing. He's dieted down. He is fucking shredded. He is like 255, and I mean shredded. And him and I trust him because he's the big bodybuilder for the 300 pounder, right? So I don't want to do things unless guys like Ron are okay with it and they're into it. So we were working on just a macro product, and that got stalled. I mean, it's been stalled for like 3 years now. We just never got around to it. So we probably have a back catalog of probably, I would say, 3 or 4 awesome hardcore products. One of them is a macro. I already talked about the pre-workout that's coming. Hope you're into it, Shane. Hope you're really in.
I'm ready for
it. But are you in?
I know that you're saying what you're saying, and it's going to obviously connect to the pre-workout. I get that. I don't know how it connects though.
You'll figure it out. It's okay. It's nothing big. Come on, it's just fun. We're just having fun, everybody. Just having fun. Everybody have a sense of humor.
This has been fun. I feel like this is a bit more fun episode than the
first
one.
But when are we going to get started? When are we going to start the episode?
I would say you're probably one of the more fun guests I've had. Like sometimes you get them on and you kind of just like, you gotta really drive it. You kind of said like 3 questions and we've just gone off on random shit. So that's where
that's my problem in life. Don't invite me to a cocktail party. It's just going to get weird, man. It just gets weird. Nobody wants to hear about the story about me running into Rich Gaspari, where Rich and I have run into each other. No, nobody wants to hear those stories. Nobody wants to hear the story about you, me, and Scott talking about what we talked about in Vegas. Nobody wants to hear those kind of stories. Nobody wants to hear about what I was talking about with somebody else at this other place in New Zealand the last time I went to New Zealand right before COVID. Nobody wants to hear those stories.
That was really poorly timed. Like I was
yes, it was.
I was actually, you were in the city that I was born and raised, and I missed you by like a week.
Yeah. But, we went over to the Blues facility, got them all hooked up on the PVL, and look what happened, eh?
Yes, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
They won.
Obviously, I'm the worst at my own country's sports, though. I don't really pay too much attention to what we do.
Okay.
I did see the sponsorship though with PVL and the Blues because I saw the special edition packaging. That was pretty cool to see.
That was fun.
Very few brands, if any, partner with teams outside of their own country.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're not done. We're just getting started.
Well,
yeah, we're an overnight sensation, 25 years in the making. How's that for you?
That's perfect. and another 25 to come.
Yeah. Hey, before you sign me out of here and kick me out the door and shut off the lights and do your sticky-talky Twittery thingy.
Here we go.
All right. Yeah, here we go. So everybody, don't forget, you got to go over to that Graham thing we keep referring to. You can go find at Mutant CEO. Go follow Big Ron at Rep 300, Mutant Nation, and then tune in, folks. Everybody, dial into your local Mutant Nation station, and on July 20th.
July 20th. You're setting a date.
I'm setting a date.
Oh damn! What's that? That's 2 weeks. 1.5.
That's less than 2 weeks.
Tuesday, the 20th.
I'm setting the date. I've named it. I've called it. Tune in. You don't want to miss it.
Okay, July 20th. I'll remember that. I have a good memory, so I'll be tuning in July 20th. Well, I appreciate the time as always. Thank you for coming on. It was better than I expected, which was what I expected.
Hey, we're setting the bar high for episode number 3 of the Shane and McMahon show. Oh, hey, look at that, Shane, and my last name is McMahon. It's like Shane McMahon. the jokes are endless when you and I get going.
Yeah, I like I said, I appreciate the time, and yeah, I'm gonna have to get you on at some point. I don't know what for. We'll figure it out.
We're gonna have more fun. All right, Shane, thank you. I appreciate it, and everybody, sorry about all the swearing and all the good brands out there. I love you guys.